Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Tuesday's Treasure. I hope everyone is having a really great morning so far. I was just listening to some worship music. I was listening to Good Good Father by Chris. I think it's Chris. Let's see. As we wait for people. This was with Housewives, but I know that someone else sings this. I think it's Chris Tomlin. But yes, hello, good morning. I have my water here, as usual, and I hope that you're joining me with a drink of your choice. I'm just gonna wait a couple more, maybe like a minute or so, and then we can get started. It looks really pretty out, a little cold maybe. I'm excited to go outside later. But yes, I am so glad that you're here. Alrighty. Well, welcome back to Tuesday's Treasure, everyone. I am so excited to be here with you this morning. This morning I've actually have been reading and meditating in Isaiah 41. I love the book of Isaiah. I like to read it very often because I think it's just really helpful for me. It just shows me how much God loves his people. I mean, you see that all throughout the Bible, but in Isaiah, it's one of my favorite. It is. But I'm going to read in Isaiah 41, verses 10 and 13. Verse 10 says, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Verse 13 says, "For I am the Lord your God, who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, 'Do not fear, I will help you.'" And I love these two scriptures here. Many times in Isaiah, you read those phrases of "do not be afraid, do not fear, don't, so do not be afraid." It's just my favorite line because God knew that we would be fearful. God knows that we're human, and that's something that we'll feel at some point. And he knew that that's what his people were feeling. And so I love that he was reassuring them, and he reassures us. And I love that here it says, "Do not be dismayed, for I am your God." He's telling us who he is. And then he's telling us what he will do for us. He says, "I will strengthen you." And I love it because when I read "I will," or I hear it, it's like a promise, It's a promise that God is telling us. He says, "And will help you, and I will uphold you with my righteous hand." And then it says a similar thing in verse 13. Again, he's telling us who he is. It says, "For I am the Lord your God, who takes the hold of your right hand." He's telling us what he will do. And he reminds us again, like, do not fear. And he says, "I will help you," this promise. And I just love it. I just love that he is there for us. I love that he just cares so deeply for us. And, just to share a little story, maybe some of you already know this about me, but I love kids. I love them. They're so funny. They say the funniest things. And before I moved to Worcester, I worked at this daycare. I actually worked at 2 daycares. And it was just so much fun. And there's, just great memories. As I'm talking about it, I'm thinking about them. And one of my favorite things, though, was when the parents would come to pick them up, the kids would run up to them. The parents would get them packed and ready, and they would be just so excited. I worked specifically a lot with toddlers. So, 1.5, 2 years old, or 2.5. And they were just super, super excited, squirming to go home with their parents a lot of the times. And when the parents were ready to walk with them, they would grab their hand and, hold their hand, and the little tiny hand would just go and fit into their parents' little hand. It was so cute, and they were so excited. And I just love that the parents, they were like, okay, here's a map, you know, I'll see you home, or, watch out for those cars on your way home by yourself. No, like, they they made sure that, they took care of the child. They helped them, they guided them, they held them close to them. And even if they were in the hallway, they let them go for a little bit, but immediately when they were outside, they would grab them and take care of them, take them home. And I love that. That was so just so amazing to me. And God does that for us. Like, he grabs us, he gives us his hand to take a hold of. And um but there were also days with toddlers that they didn't want to take a hold of their parents' hands. They wanted to do things on their own, do their own thing. They had, just a rough day and toddler days. And so they just would cry, or they would just stand somewhere, or they would run off by themselves. And to be quite honest, I can relate to them. I can do similar things as well in my relationship with God. I can want to take control of things on my own. I can, stop, like, I'll stop praying, or I won't pray to God, or I think that Marcela's way is the best way, which it never is, ever. Um and I can just want to be the one that controls the situation, and it's just never good. But I relate to that toddler. And the more that I walk with God, the more I'm walking in my relationship, I'm learning, and always having to learn this, that the safest place that I can be is holding God's hand. And he wants, to be there with us. He wants to help us. And I just love that heart that God has for his people, for us, for you, and for me. And I just even love that, it says the right hand. And I was wondering why in the Bible it talks a lot, multiple times, saying the right hand. And it means strength. And God is our strength, and he is going to hold us tight. And he says, that he will help us. And so just for me, it's been really helpful, especially in this time of the pandemic, or any time in my life where I feel like it's a storm. Like, I'm like, okay, like, God is there for me. I just gotta, hold him. But he already says, I take hold of your right hand, which is so comforting to me. And I just love that he is the one that gives me the strength, my salvation, and he protects me. Just like those parents are doing the same for those little toddlers who are ready, for pickup. So that has been helpful for my heart this morning, even as I was listening to Good Father. It just, it brings so much comfort to me that he is my good Father, and he loves me. And I'm just loved. And I say this often, I'm loved by the creator of the universe. And it's just so incredible. And, we can want to take security in things of this world, or put our security in people. I know I do, or, in the news, which at the end of the day, like, my security doesn't come from any of those things. Or anyone. It just comes from God alone. He's the one that's going to really hold me and take my hand. So I hope that you guys have an incredible day today. That's just something that has really been helpful for me as I was reading and meditating this morning. But I hope that everyone's okay, and just yeah, praying for you guys. Thank you. Bye.